Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the City Update. I'm your host Mark Aaron, Multimedia Design Manager for the City of Danville. Today we're down on Bridge Street to bring you another major economic development announcement that's headed our way here in the City of Danville. More importantly, it's going to be housed right here in the River District. Behind me in the old Belt 1 building, which facility is currently owned by the IDA. It houses LifeBat Incorporated, and now it's going to be the Center for Applied High Performance Computing. Noblus Incorporated and Cray Incorporated have teamed together to form this center, which will house a supercomputer. This supercomputer is actually the first one in the United States to be housed outside of a federal laboratory or in an academic setting. So we feel this is going to be a game changer here for the City of Danville, hopefully attracting many new technology companies to our area. On today's show, we're going to talk with Gil Miller, who's one of the vice presidents for Noblus, to learn a lot more about this supercomputer. We're also going to take you inside the facility to the ribbon cutting ceremony that was held here last week. We'll hear from Mayor Sherman Saunders and a lot of other dignitaries that were on hand. So let's go inside now, take you inside to the ribbon cutting ceremony, and then we'll hear from Gil Miller.
Thank you, Gilbert. Yes, because Danville is super, because Danville goal is to be the regional technology hub for this part of the country. And yes, Danville does get it. Okay. Let me also recognize some council members who are here. We have a quorum. Dr. Gary Miller, council member, will you please stand? Councilman Fred Shanks, Councilman John Gilstrap, Councilman Larry Campbell, City Manager Joe King, and yes, we do have a quorum, and the meeting is now called to order. Thank you. Let me also recognize and ask to stand some wonderful young Averett University people who are here, and will continue to move our city forward. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Thank you. Thank you. And Philip, welcome home, young man. Welcome home. Today is a great day for our region. We've all been hard at work transforming our economy from one based on old, declining textile and tobacco industries to a more future-oriented mix of businesses. What could be more appropriate than to cut a ribbon, opening the Center for Applied Performance Computing with its own Cray XMT computer, located in a renovated historic tobacco warehouse. What could be more appropriate? This beautiful building has been revitalized with the efforts of the Tobacco Commission, City of Danville, Department of Housing and Urban Development, federal government, and the Governor of Virginia's Opportunity Fund. This team, working together with Noblus, has built a center that screams loudly and clearly. We are making the transition from the old to the new economy. In addition, it's another indication that our River District is alive and well. The River District is fast becoming the place to be in Danville. We are committed to make the River District a beehive, yes, a beehive of activity that will bring new prosperity to our region. Noblus and Cray are bringing the kind of cutting-edge technology to our River District that we are seeking for Bridge Street. To have a Cray supercomputer in Danville is something that few of us could have ever imagined just a few short months ago. The formal opening of the Center for Applied High Performance Computing is proof that with teamwork, all things are possible. I extend my personal thanks to everyone who's worked to make this center a reality, and I especially want to thank Noblus Incorporated for its confidence in locating the center in Danville, and Cray for its commitment to locate a supercomputer in the center here in Danville, a super city, a city that's a regional technology hub for our country, and a city who gets it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gil. I'll be brief here, guys. I'm not a big speaker and things like this, but there's some commonalities here that I've got to draw. I mean, one is we're a high-tech company. Clearly, our partner here at Noblus, they're a high-tech focused company. But if you really go back in time a little bit, Cray has its origins in a small town in Wisconsin, something very similar to this. and we generate and build our technology there. So if I look at what's going on in this kind of a rebirth from the past into the future, it's just really exciting, and we're thrilled, absolutely thrilled to be a part of this event. So again, we thank you. We look forward to the partnership with Nobles, the partnership with Danville, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. We appreciate it. Larry's up from, resides in Huntsville, Alabama. I still can't quite get over the idea when you decide to work for Cray, they make the decision of employment, and then they ask you, well, where are you going to live? And they live throughout the country. It's a really an amazing thing. So Larry's up from Huntsville. Good to have you, Larry. Of course, one of the other partners that we had who has a very interesting story about how they first met Cray and the fact that Cray crashed their Christmas party. We have Keith Boswell from the Virginia Economic Development Partnership. Keith, good to have you here.
It really is great to be here. It's been a couple years now, and it was the December of 2009 when I got a call, as we usually do. We actively pursue projects, and sometimes they make a call, and the call was, would you be interested in entertaining an idea about some kind of center that could do some really neat stuff? And we have a model in Virginia that's done it before. We entertained it. And I said, yeah, well, we can talk. How about after Christmas? Well, no, Christmas is coming, and we need to talk now. How about tomorrow? Well, tomorrow was our annual holiday party, and we invited and this man back here, Brent Gulick, came down with a couple people and laid out the idea that we could do some kind of supercomputer center with a company called Nobles. And from there, we were looking for partnerships. And that's really, my message today is that this wouldn't have happened without partners. Danville was a ready partner. We were looking at some other things, but Danville clearly got it. They were ready to go. They had some answers, early answers, and we made a path forward. And it wouldn't have happened if we hadn't had the vision that Danville had. Danville is on that edge. They see what could happen. They are eager to make deals. And this was very creative. This is not an ordinary economic development project. So we added other partners, the Tobacco Commission. We looked for other partners. And it became an idea that I never heard no. In my business, we look for the no. We don't want to waste time. And it was yes. Or it was yes and. And we kept answering the questions, and today we get to cut a ribbon. This is a great thing for Danville. It's a great thing for Virginia, but especially for the work that is perseverance, and we now have something that we all can be proud of. I can't wait to see what comes out of this machine. So, Gil, thanks.
Thank you, Keith. Good to have you. So let me take an opportunity to introduce to you the gentleman that leads the Industrial Development Authority here in this part of the world, Mr. Richard Turner. Would you rise, Mr. Turner? He, in fact, is the landlord here. So the IDA owns the building. And I have to tell you, like I said before, Danville and the whole folks understand what it's about to move things very quickly in terms of the renovation. We just began the renovation of this facility less than 6 months ago. There's Bobby Atkins, and where's your partner in crime? There he is, okay, from Blair Construction. Really thrilled to have those guys and what they were able to do. And, of course, the design is theirs as well. So, Mr. Turner, it's thanks for offering your building to us. Our next partner I'd like to ask to offer some questions is really the guys that ask the most probing questions throughout all of this. And that's good because when you're making investments, you want to make sure that people have answers to your question. So let me introduce to you from the Virginia Tobacco Commission, Mr. Neil Noyes.
Good afternoon. I want first to echo what the mayor said. Danville really is super. It's always a pleasure to come to see the good work that you're doing, see council members recognized. And Danville does get it when it comes to economic development, and now Danville has got it. It's got a Cray supercomputer. One thing that's truly remarkable and that hasn't been alluded to yet is that when this project was first broached with members of my board, our understanding was and continues to be that no rural area anywhere in the United States has the computing capacity of this center. You are not only super here in Danville, you're unique. And when you imagine how innovation can proceed based on the development of new applications and new software that can take advantage of the enormous capacity of this wonderful technology, the ability to innovate and to be competitive in a global economy begins anew right here in the tobacco-dependent area of Southern Virginia in the city of Danville. Congratulations. Thank you.
So let me introduce to you one of the gentlemen who represents people here in this part of Virginia, up in Washington, D.C. We've had the benefit of, throughout this, to have the support not only of the congressional delegation, but also from the offices of Senator Warner and Senator Webb. But paying a visit today, and we're thankful he's here, is Congressman Robert Hurt.
Gil, thank you so much, and I want to add my welcome on behalf of the people of the 5th District to this partnership and to what this represents. I think, as the mayor aptly pointed out, and I think Larry made this same point, I think all of us here who live in Southside Virginia have a great respect for and draw strength from the great heritage that we have here. And this heritage is represented in much of the bricks and mortar that are found right where we're standing. When you stop and you think about the thriving economy these structures that are here, that so many of them, too many of them, that are empty, the thriving economy that is represented, and the generations of good jobs, the generations of prosperity that came through and along these banks, along this river, it is thrilling to be able to look at the next generation. And that's what this represents. I simply would like to today, again, welcome you, and we look forward to a strong partnership going forward. I think that the resources that this represents and will truly provide will be something that will be exciting to watch bear out. I have today with me a flag, an American flag, and when I think about as has been said, the ingenuity, and I think about the genius of our free enterprise system and all the things that this great experiment in democracy has wrought, I think this is a perfect example of that, and I hope that you all will be able to use this flag at the center and be reminded and inspired by it as you go about your work. So I'd like to present this to you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Gil.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. So, although disappointed that Governor McDonald could not join us, I am personally quite pleased because I got to meet a woman here who all of you have known for a long time, and I've heard great stories about, and her amounts of energy come in front of you. So, I mean, they're really great. So it's a pleasure, of course, to introduce to you the Deputy Secretary for Rural Economic Development and Commerce and Trade, Mary Ray Carter. Ms. Carter, welcome.
Good afternoon. I had about a 35-minute speech that I was going to give today, but because everyone has said what I was going to say, I'll make it very brief. I agree with the mayor. Danville does get it. And as I travel rural Virginia, I do use Danville and a lot of the areas around Southern Virginia as models for bringing jobs to their area. You do a fantastic job. Mayor, thank you. I want to thank Jeremy Stratton and his very capable team. They start at the beginning, and they don't give up until it all comes to fruition, and thank you. You obviously have great partners up here, the Tobacco Commission, our Congressman Hurt, the Virginia Economic Development Partnership. And what I want to say on behalf of Governor McDonnell and the Lieutenant Governor to Gil and to his company is thank you. Thank you for finding Danville the place that you want to expand your business. And thank you for helping Southern Virginia. This can be a game changer for us. So one of the best parts about my job is I get to give gifts. So Gil, if you will come up, I would like to give you a beautiful flag of Virginia that has flown over the Capitol. And we hope that you will always see this as a symbol of the partnership between the citizens of Virginia and your company.
Well, thank you. All of us here that are going to reside in Danville are appreciative of this. We now have a matching pair. What better thing than the, and in some ways a great reminder of the irony that's played out in this building of the transformation not only of the economy of Virginia, but also of the United States from colonial days of tobacco to the 21st century in information technology. We'll proudly display this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, it's time to cut a ribbon.
1, 2, 3.
Hundreds of tornadoes have struck throughout the country. Homes destroyed. People in need. Lives devastated. Red Cross volunteers are on the ground, providing urgently needed food, shelter, and counseling to tornado victims. You can help. Click. Text. Call. Every single donation brings hope. Please, click, text, or call today.
Well, welcome back to this week's edition of the City Update. I'm your host, Mark Aaron, Multimedia Design Manager for the City of Danville. Joining me now is Gil Miller, who's Vice President for Noblest. And Gil, thank you so much for joining us today. And first of all, welcome to the City of Danville.
It's a pleasure to be here. The City of Danville has made unbelievable welcomes to Noblest and to me personally, and we're just thrilled about it.
And before we get into the nuts and bolts of the supercomputer, let's talk about this beautiful facility that you all are in here in the River District, right here on Bridge Street, and the Old Belt 1 building. For our viewers at home are familiar with this area. Talk about the facility, why you all chose to locate in the River District.
Well, I tell you what, when we decided to come to Danville, we put our hands and trust in the Economic Development Office in the city, Jeremy Wright and Linwood Wright and Jeremy Stratton. And we were thrilled that they picked this facility for us. We find it a great irony that here we sit in this building built in 1877 to house tobacco. And now we're sitting in a renovated facility that's hosting and housing a supercomputer, a reflection of where from the 19th century to the 21st century, the change in the Virginia economy.
Now tell me, where is your headquarters located?
Our headquarters is located right outside of Washington, D.C. in Northern Virginia. Right. We are a Virginia company in a little town called Falls Church.
Very good. Now we're so glad you made the trek south, down to Southside Virginia, but tell us why you chose Southside Virginia, more importantly, why Danville?
So let me put that in context a little bit and tell you about our other partners. So in addition to Noblest, which is a nonprofit Virginia company specializing in science and technology, we also have as a partner the Cray Corporation, which is a expert and innovator in supercomputers, the Virginia Tobacco Commission, and from Richmond, the Virginia Economic Development Partnership, as well as, of course, the City of Danville. Now, each of our partners is bringing to the table a bit of financing, a bit of expertise, a bit of this and that. And the City of Danville, of course, was bringing the ability to pull together the team, the ability to provide this wonderful facility, and they made a very good case of why we should be in Danville, and we accepted it. And we buy into the idea that if we would come, then perhaps others will come as well. This is a splendid place to be. The city is unbelievably agile and responsive. They know how to get things done quickly. We couldn't have pulled off this facility this fast in Northern Virginia.
Wow.
that's great to hear, and it's great
yeah.
to see the stars aligned to make this project possible. That's great.
Yes.
Now, tell me a little bit about this supercomputer and kind of put it in layman's terms for our viewers here at home, but tell me about the partnership with Nobilis and, of course, with Cray, the supercomputer, the first supercomputer, I think, in the United States will be outside of a federal laboratory or an academic setting, so it's great to see it be right here in Danville.
So this particular supercomputer is a computer that does something very special. I'll mention that in a minute. But usually the question I get is, how big is it? And people think it's gigantic. Right. It's not. It's about the size of 3 very large refrigerators.
Okay.
You'll catch some
we'll
shots
some
of it later.
Sure.
Okay. So it's not really all that big, but it's a set of processors, a set of computers that are working together to accomplish a particular computing task. Okay. Now, what this supercomputer does is it works on things that are called networks very, very efficiently, and so it's very fast. It's like a NASCAR car going around an oval. It's designed to go around that oval, and it does it very well. Okay, well, this supercomputer goes across networks very well. And so you might say, well, how fast is it? So if I was to draw a network by thinking of every person in China as part of this network, and we had 16 links connecting every person in China. Okay, think about all those links. Sure. And you might say, well, and in this case, the supercomputer is the race car that's going to go across every one of those links, billions and billions of links. So we can do that for everybody in this in China, all those links in less than 1 second.
Oh, wow.
So that gives you an idea of what we're able to do.
Sure.
We are no longer in an age of limited computing power. This Cray bit of technology and hopefully the applications that we're able to develop in concert with them will just do an amazing job to break down barriers to computing and open up avenues that we've never thought of.
Can you give our viewers maybe an example of someone in the private sector that could utilize your expertise when it comes to this supercomputer to give our viewers a better understanding?
So if you think about commercial business today operating on the internet, they're very much interested in their network, as it were, their social network, their network of customers.
Right.
And so all of those problems are problems that this machine can handle very quickly in terms of understanding the relationships, the special nuances about how that network of consumers perhaps is brought together. Okay. Another interesting problem, of course, is Nobilis does a lot of work for the federal government, including agencies such as Homeland Security. Cray does similar kinds of work. In that particular area, you can imagine we're very interested in things like the social network of terrorists, and we're interested in exploring what that network looks like. We're interested in exploring of when there are abnormalities in that network, perturbations that we might want to pay attention to in terms of events that are about to happen.
Right, so you'll be lending your hand in a lot of different areas for many, many years when it comes to this computer.
We sure hope to. That's exactly right.
Well, Gil, let's talk about the operation here in Danville. We mentioned Falls Church is where you're headquartered, but who will be operating here out of the Danville office?
Okay, so we have, as per the business plan that we have in place with all of our partners, we have 3 staff that are sort of getting things started here. Okay. We have additional staff that will continue to work on the machine and add ideas from Falls Church. But for the time being, here in Danville, we have 3 people. We have a gentleman from Cray. We have Will Mitchell, who is our site leader here. He's now living in the Danville area. Yeah. And of course, we're really pleased that we just picked up a fellow by the name of Philip Hayes from, just graduated from Purdue University in computer science. And of course, he was born and raised here in Danville. And so we're excited to have Phil on our staff.
Glad to see some of that local talent coming back home. That's great to hear. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us today, and we've already heard a little bit about from the other constituents that spoke here today at the ceremony just how important this project is for our community. Really appreciate you all believing in the city of Danville and making your home here, and we look forward to bright things in the future. We really appreciate it.
As do we. Thanks for having me.
All right.